So this month I wanted to bring in our embossing folders to just give you a few extra ideas for using these. Now this does make it a little bit more tricky for somebody who's a beginner crafter, because you do need our cut and emboss machines to be able to use these, or obviously something similar, different brand. But we do have different sizes, and I just thought I really ought to go through some of these with you, because you will see that we've got some that are sort of a whole pattern, and you can see that some have got two different patterns here for them. And the reason for this is there's actually two different folders that you're getting here. So with these single ones, you're getting a single folder. With these dual ones that you can see in different places, you're getting two folders. And the great thing is that any of these little folders will go through the mini cut and emboss machine. So if you've got a mini machine, these dual folders are great. If you've got a full-size machine, you can go for any of them. Now the other thing is that you will use different plates with different folders. Gets a little bit complicated. So like I say, not so much for a beginner, but don't worry, because if you're getting a make and take pack from me, you will have already got your paper embossed. I've already embossed this. So, but I am going to demonstrate embossing tonight with the embossing folder, and then we can have a little look at it in a bit more depth at it, so that you can see how it works. But the great thing about the embossing folders is that they add some texture. That's why it's called a textured embossing folder. They add texture to a card, but they also sort of create a little bit of interest in that background without taking too much away from the focus. So that's why I love embossing folders. And what we've got here, we've got our make and take pack. We're using Fresh as a Daisy DSP, but we're using the other side. So this is the floral side, but each of these papers has got a floral side and it's got a sort of brushed art paper on the other. Let me bring these in to show you. So we've got this one, and on the other side you've got the brushed I think it's the azure blue, and it won't be azure blue. I'll have to have a look at what that one is. Even on the mixed pile, you've got the moody mauve on the other side. We've got the copper on the other side of that one. So, and we've got a wonderful sort of green and peacock together there. That's the one that we're using. I may have missed one, and let me see. It's possible, because I may have used up that whole sheet of paper that is missing. So these are some of the colours that we've got to choose from, and what I figured is that this could look quite interesting with this art. Let me get my catalogue and check the name of it. This art folder that we've got, and I just had, there we are. I just had the catalogue to show you, and these are in the back. So it's painted texture. So like I say, what we're going to do is put this painted texture in the folder. Let me move these out of the way, because I'm going to need to fetch the cut and emboss machine through to show you, and it does mean that it tends to make the desk wobble a little bit. So what I'm going to do is pop that in my folder, and I'm putting it not quite to the top, because if you go all the way to the top, it's going to actually put a line that isn't embossed there. So you want to just come just within the pattern. A lot of the folders actually have a line at the bottom for you to line up, but because this is a design that is quite random anyway, it doesn't really matter about it being straight. Now, let's bring in. This folder is one of our 3D ones. So when you look at the plate, it says use with 3D embossing folder. You're going to use platform 1, this one, and platform 4, and that is this one. So I am going to pop this through, and it does say insert embossing folders hinge first. It's very much better if you can put the hinge first through. Occasionally I need to turn it and run it through that way, and it doesn't usually damage the embossing folder, but if you can put the hinge through first, that is much safer and less likely to damage the embossing folder. So we run that through, pop that out of the way, and then we take this out, and you can see that it's given a texture to that paper, and I think that this texture makes it really quite good for masculine cards. So what we're going to do is just make this into a very simple masculine birthday card. So I'll pop those out of the way. All I'm going to do is adhere this direct to the card front. Now I would say be careful not to press down too hard when you put your adhesive down, because you don't want to press out the embossing that you've just put in place. And that is just about to run out. Which, there we go. So it may be better to actually use liquid glue for this anyway, but there we go. So I'm going to pop this on, and it doesn't matter which way up it is because there is no right way to it. But we just want that on like that. And then I'm going to take my Biggest Wish set. What we're going to do is just have a simple sentiment banner across the front of this. So I've basically just cut a deep enough border for stamping the sentiment on, and then one just a little bit bigger to just give us that hint of colour. So I'm going to take these, and I need my mat when I can find it. Here we are. So we will, what I'm going to do actually is stamp the birthday first. So we'll pick up the birthday, and I'm just using black. You could go with a navy. I wouldn't go with the pool party because I think that's a little bit too pale. So I'm going to stamp the birthday down in this corner like that. And then I'm going to stamp the happy just above it. I've not got enough room, you see, to be able to stamp the whole of this with it in this orientation. If I'd done it that way round, yes, but I thought that this would look quite interesting anyway. So I'm going to stamp this, and I'm just trying to work out, perhaps I should have put it a little bit further over or a little bit further down. But if you're doing this and your sentiment isn't as big, then you've got a few options. You could trim this and then trim this to be narrower for your sentiment, or you could just add a few little stamps around to add something of more interest to it. So because my seal has run out for the moment, I need to find where my refill is. I'm going to use liquid glue. You can use whatever glue is your preference. Oops. And because I nudged that, I've still got time to put it in place. So the textured embossing folders, like I say, are really great for adding that extra interest to the background of your card without taking away from the important bit. And I could have popped that up on dimensionals, but this makes it a great card for posting. And I'm using just a few of the Neutrals adhesive back sequins, and I'm just going to pop a few of them, a couple of different sizes down here and one up here. So that's our outside, and now our inside. And I really want another sentiment. Let me grab that. So I'm going to use the Charming Sentiments for the inside. Of course, you won't get stamped images when you get your make and take kit. So you will use whatever you've got in your stash. And that's why I'm giving a few tips for, as I say, if you haven't got a large sentiment like that, then you can always trim down, use your paper trimmer to just trim it down to a size that fits the sentiment you're using. So I'm going to go with this, and then we'll just add the matching strip of DSP down the side. So I hope you were able to get our DSP while it was on offer last month. That was an extra bonus. There we are. And again, I just need to nudge that into position. And I just put a thin thread of the multi-purpose liquid glue on there. And then we'll put that down like that. Actually, I think I need to nudge that over ever so slightly. Oh, right, so there is our first card. Nice and simple. Like I say, it's just this sort of texture in the background that just makes it a little bit different. So there's our first card for today's online workshop.